Hi, I'm Jameson Parker.
And I'm Darlene Parker. Welcome to A Dog's Life.
Today we're going to take a look at one of the smallest of the pointing breeds.
A French import, the Brittany is one of the most popular gun dogs in its native land, and one of the most popular here too.
So stay tuned, and we'll try and find out exactly why this stubby-tailed little pointing dog is so popular.
It's a long way from the rocky westernmost coast of France to the cowboy country of southwestern Saskatchewan. But a small, eager, hard-hunting dog has made that journey. And not only to Saskatchewan. Wherever you can find game birds that will hold for the point, you will find Brittany's.
The province of Brittany is a peninsula that juts out from France into the Atlantic Ocean. It is bounded on the north by the English Channel and on the south by the Bay of Biscay, and is famous for its apples and its cider, and for the traditional ladies' headdresses still occasionally worn there. It is also famous for a diminutive dog that is about the same size as a Spaniel, and even looks like a Spaniel, which is why they were known as Brittany Spaniels up until 1982. The breed may be an ancient one. There are paintings and woodcuts and even tapestries showing very similar dogs going back to the 1600s. And some researchers have tried to establish a connection between the Brittany and the Welsh Springer Spaniel, or even the old red and white setter, which was the ancestor of today's Irish setter. Of those two, the connection to the Welsh Springer is the more logical, since the province of Brittany owes its name to the Britons, who settled there after they were driven out of the British Isles by the Anglo-Saxons around 500 AD. But regardless of who the dog is related to, he is unique in two respects. First, he is one of the only known sporting breeds to be developed by a class of people, the peasants who farmed the province of Brittany, rather than by an individual or a small group of breeders. Second, he is popularly believed to have been bred specifically to poach on royal lands, and the docking of the tail is supposed to have evolved as a way to disguise the fact that he was a hunting dog. The breed declined during the 1800s, but around the turn of the century, just about the time that the first Hungarian Partridge were being released in America, a French sportsman named Arthur Eno helped revive the little tailless dog. The Brittany first came to America around 1931, but it wasn't until after World War II that the little dog's popularity began to soar. Today, depending on the breeding, the Brittany can vary from a hard-running field trialer to a close-working, easily trained hunting companion. In fact, many fanciers claim that the Brittany is a self-training dog, requiring only a minimum of formal education.
The Brittany is best described in the Encyclopedia of North American Sporting Dogs as a compact, medium-sized, and leggy dog. We were lucky enough to be visiting Leslie Andreas, a noted breeder of both field and show Brittany's, and she was able to expand on that.
This is a good representative of the breed. Roughly what height?
This dog is right at the bottom of the size standard. She's 17.5 inches tall. They go up to 20.5 inches tall, but like anything, there's always dogs that are going to be on either side of the standard. There's probably more bigger ones than there are small ones.
And weight?
This dog probably weighs about 30 pounds. They run 30 to 40 pounds according to the breed standard, but there again, there's dogs over and under the limits.
Now, you also show your dogs, do you not?
Yes, I do. And the Brittany is one of the few breeds where you both show and field dogs are found in the same lines. The Brittany Club in the States has very, very much promoted the dual aspect of the breed, and they haven't separated into a field and show variety like many of the sporting breeds have, like most of the sporting breeds have.
Well, the coat, I would imagine, is part of the reason for that. I mean, this is a much shorter, easier coat to handle. It's not you don't have the long feathering that you have on some of the setters.
This particular dog just had a litter of puppies this summer, and she doesn't have any coat right now, but most of the time she does have more coat than this. But they are a much lighter coated dog than the show springers and the show setters and such.
The only colors allowed by the breed standard are orange and white or liver and white. A tricolor, liver and orange and white, is permissible but frowned upon. Black is forbidden. Ironically, there is now a separate breed known as the French Brittany, where black is acceptable, But the French Brittany is not yet recognized by the American Kennel Club. Time now for this week's Ask the Vet segment, brought to you by the Doctors Foster and Smith, America's foremost suppliers of pet care needs. Let's join Darlene and Dr. Marty Smith as he answers your dog care questions.
Hi, we're back with Dr. Marty Smith of Doctors Foster and Smith Catalog, and we've got a new helper with us today. This is an English pointer named Marshall. Marty, we've got a question from Hal Bodges of Chillicothe, Missouri, and he writes, "My buddy says it's not good to feed my dog before hunting, but I've always fed before, so my dog would have enough energy to hunt. Who's right?"
If you're talking about feeding a normal meal, you definitely don't want to do it before you hunt and not for a couple hours after you come back from hunting. Deep-chested dogs like our hunting breeds have a lot of trouble with formation of gas in their food, and they can actually twist their stomach and have what's called a bloat or a volvulus. If that happens to your dog, you've got an emergency situation. So in the hunting days, we usually feed them, wait a couple hours to go out, let the food start digesting, and then during the day we're going to feed small quantities of food every hour to 2 hours, something like a Gainsburger or a Prime Choice, something that'll fit in your vest or something. We don't feed them big meals before or right after hunting. Big mistake, it can cause a lot of problems. You may have done it for your dog lots of times and nothing bad happened, but if it does, something bad does happen, you could very easily lose your dog to one of the most serious things that affects our hunting breeds.
Now, is that something that I've heard called gastric torsion?
Gastric torsion, volvulus, bloat, goes by a lot of different names, but with food in the stomach and the activity of the dog, it can happen anytime, but especially with activity, the foam that forms and the froth that forms on the food is not belched out by the dog. It builds up, the stomach expands so that this dog's chest would actually get well out to here, be tight as a drum, emergency surgery, or at least we have to pass a tube on them. And if activity and food together, we have to stay away from it. We just do.
So really important to give 2 hours before the hunt to let the food digest, and then small little amounts every one and a half.
And then a big meal at night. Wait at least 2 hours to give that after the hunt.
Wonderful.
If you're going to give a big meal.
This is real important information. That's a great question, Hal. I hope you got some good information from that. Thank you, Marty. And Marshall, you are just spectacular.
Now it's time for this week's training class, brought to you by the Pointing Dog Journal and the Retriever Journal. So let's join editor Steve Smith as he shares some helpful tips for you and your dog.
Should a hunting dog be an inside dog or an outside dog? There's a difference of opinion. The people who like to keep their dogs outside say that the dog's healthier, that the coat's better, and that very often they feel it has more hunting intensity because the dog lives to work. The inside people, I'm one of those, feel that the dog bonds with you better, socializes better, gets to know your moods and attitudes better. But if your dog is on the inside of the house, the family is on the inside of the house, there has to be a consistency in the commands. You can't let the dog get away with one thing with one family member and then let another family member discipline him for it. So what's right? What's right is what's right for you. There isn't a right, there isn't a wrong. It's just how much time do you want to spend with your dog and what is your own personal circumstance. Very often it comes down to the opinion of a close relative by marriage. Right, Libby? Let's go.
The gray partridge was first introduced into North America around the turn of the century. While they survive in very diverse habitat from Washington State to Nova Scotia, they are native to the vast semi-arid steppes of Europe and Western Asia, and consequently they thrive in the vast semi-arid plains of North America. The first bird stocked in the New World came from Hungary, hence the name Hungarian Partridge, or just plain Hun. They're an extremely shy bird, often flushing well out in front of the dog. So the ideal pointing dog is one that is biddable and gives the game a wide berth when pointing. A dog, in short, like the Brittany.
Now, is the Brittany naturally a close working dog, a hard running dog, in between, what?
Well, a Brittany is naturally just a bird dog, and they're smart enough to adapt to the kind of cover that they hunt. Out here, where we have very wide open spaces, we expect and need a dog that will cover a lot of land. The same dog that we can hunt here and expect to run wide would probably adjust itself and shorten up if we were in tighter cover, which we do occasionally hunt tighter cover. And the same dog will adjust itself.
As with all pointing breeds, the secret to successful training is birds, lots of birds. Leslie also emphasizes lots of patience, and given the wide open spaces where she hunts, lots of space for her hard-working dogs to gain experience and develop their instincts.
Now, who is this?
This is Lucky. Lucky's a 1.5 years old, and she's Tessa's daughter. And she's a little bit wild and crazy.
She certainly looks like she's got some energy on her.
Yes, she does.
Oh!
Okay, that's
one.
Here! Lucky!
At this age, at 1.5, you're going to let her chase that bird?
Yes, I am going to let her chase that bird because I don't think she'll catch it, and I hope not.
Yeah.
But I want her to have a lot of fire and style later on in life. And if I do too much with her on it, I might take something out of her. I'm hoping that when she gets over here, she's now thinking there's birds out here.
Yeah.
I put these birds down a lot lighter than I put the other birds down because I don't want her to catch them.
Gotcha. Goodness gracious. Oh,
Whoop.
Very good.
Whoop, whoop,
Good.
whoop, whoop. Now, for training purposes, we can take her, put her back.
Okay.
Whoop, whoop. She doesn't understand this. Come here. Come here. Come here. There we go. Okay.
You tell me if you want me to let go or hang on.
No, we're not going to let go of her this time. Good girl.
Okay.
Good girl. Good
Got
girl.
it. Okay. This has been a lot of fun, but tomorrow we're going to do the real thing, do a little
Yeah,
hunting.
we're going to try. Hopefully the wind will die down because it will help an awful lot if it isn't blowing like this.
Okay,
But-
what are we going to be hunting?
Well, I think we'll take you up to the lower V where we will find a whole wide variety of sharptail, Hungarian partridge, and pheasant. And
Ooh.
it's fairly flat and fairly easy walking. I don't know how much water's in the creek. Sometimes there's enough water in it that we can't cross over at our will, but we'll worry about that when we get there. There's birds on both
All
sides.
right. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Joining us on our hunt was wing shooting fanatic Chris Dorsey. The former executive editor of Sports Afield magazine, Chris has led the kind of wing shooting life most of us only dream of. From Patagonia to the Gulf of Alaska, from Mexico to Russia, there is no place that Chris hasn't hunted. He has taken the tiny sand grouse of Africa and the giant capercaillie of Eastern Europe, the diminutive green-winged teal of the Louisiana bayous, and the enormous spur-winged goose of Africa that has been accurately described as a cross between a B-52 bomber and an airborne lawn chair. And somehow, during all of this, he's also managed to write 6 books on both waterfowling and upland hunting. He's a die-hard aficionado of dogs, guns, and the spooky, sporty gray partridge we call the Hun.
There's a dog on point over there across the field. And if we're very, very lucky, we'll see Huns hold even better than they did the last time.
Oh, she's steady as a rock. Look at her. Are they a big temptation, these birds? Do they run and try and suck the dog away?
Sometimes they start running, and if the dog can see them on bare ground, it's an awfully hard temptation.
Yeah. Okay.
Whoa!
Oh, goodness. Oh.
Good shooting.
Good shooting, Chris. She's working.
This dog's 12 years old, and she's retrieved an awful lot of birds, so.
And she's working hard. I mean, she's looking.
Jane,
Good
Jane,
girl.
come here. Ah, that girl. Come here. Here, Jane, come here. Jane, she's gonna give it to you now.
Oh, good girl.
Jane, come here. That's a good girl.
She had to do a victory lap. Good girl, good girl, good girl.
Okay.
Let's go off and find some more.
We'll give it a college try.
Okay. And you are a good girl. You are such a good girl.
I think Chris's
Thank you
bird
very
is
much.
just about even that direction.
Okay.
We go. Come here, Jane. Hey, dead birds, dead birds. Jane. Fetch it.
Well, 12 years old, she sure is moving well.
Yes.
Come here, Jane.
Very well.
Come on.
I just hope I'm moving that well when I'm her age.
You're not 12 yet?
Uh-huh.
Let's
yeah,
go.
Birdies don't like water. They hate
Yeah.
water.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Very good.
I am kind of amazed though at how well this Brittany's come across the
I
water.
know.
Just no hesitation whatsoever, and it's got to be cold water. I'm sure it had ice on it last night.
Fetch it!
Look at that.
She has a great desire to point them. Fetch it!
How's that for pointing instinct?
Fetch it! Come on!
Yes.
Come here, Jane! Come here!
A diving partridge.
Come here, Jane! Come here! Jane! That dog worked hard to find that bird.
She worked very hard, and to make a retrieve from icy cold water. What a good girl. What a good girl you are. Oh, yes. Hey, Leslie, you have another dog?
Yes, I do. This is him.
Oh, look at you.
That's Elvis.
Elvis. Oh, yes, you're just adorable. How old is Elvis?
Elvis is 8 weeks old today.
Oh, my goodness gracious. And of course, at 8 weeks, I expect he's steady to wing and shot.
Oh, yes. Actually, he's never seen a bird.
Oh, he's never even seen a bird? Oh, this is going to be a big day for you, Elvis.
He's never seen a bird, but he's done just about everything else an 8-week-old puppy possibly could.
Oh, he smells just as good as a puppy should. Oh, yeah.
Elvis is the natural bobtail, too. He was born without a tail.
Look at this. So that was how he was born.
That's the length of tail he got. Just this little stub.
Is that about the length that it would be if you had docked it?
No, if I docked it, I would have docked it a little bit longer. I like them to have a little bit of a tail.
Yeah.
But when they're natural bobtails, you take what you get.
Sure. How often do you get the natural bobtail?
Well, it's a feature of the breed. By far the majority of Brittany's do have docked tails, but there still are dogs with the natural bob. And if you have a parent with a natural bob, 50% of the puppies, which is what we got in this litter, should have the natural bob.
Oh, yes, it's good to be a Brittany in Saskatchewan, isn't it?
Well, I think it's probably good to be a Brittany anywhere.
Come on, Elvis.
So, should you get a Brittany? Well, if your primary interest is waterfowling, the answer is no. But if what you want is a lot of pointing dog in a small package, a dog that can hunt hard all day long and still be a beguiling companion in the house at night, and if you have the time and means to properly train one, then you would be well served by the stubby-tailed dog that peasants once bred for poaching.